So this is Negro pepper. Yes. Some people confuse it with black pepper. It's not the same thing as black pepper. You can see it. That's a very strong flavor. It's one of the anti-inflammatory spices that you can add to spice up your meals. But you just need very little of it. Most people from the eastern part of Nigeria use it in cooking for a woman that had just put to bed, I mean, newly delivered of a baby. They use it in adding to the food because it's a great digestive aid. And so I want to share occasions when this spice is needed and you don't need to take it in large amount. There are some people who have come complaining of stomach ulcers after being nursed by some elderly women, maybe in the village or somewhere. They started complaining, came reporting of symptoms of or signs like that of stomach ulcer, things like anxiety feelings and the rest of it. And so this is one of the peppers, Negro pepper, that you must take in moderation because of its very spicy effect on the body. And there are people and there are occasions when you need to consume the pepper. And here are a few persons that will benefit by including it, mildly in the soup, stews, or even occasionally you can use a little part of it to make a hot tea or tincture, and then something like an infusion, and then just take a little of it because it heats up the body. It's an anti-cancer spice, and most of the spices that keeps the body warm within or activates the body to start bringing sweats, like activated there, most of them are detox in nature, and this is also one of them. It's great for digestive aid, as a digestive aid, as a respiratory support for those who are having sluggish bowel, like you are having constipation, you're having a low digestive juice, like when you eat something, it stays too long in your stomach. Sometimes symptoms of malaria. These are also occasions when those things we call malaria. These are occasions when you can add it in your soup a little or in your stews. And mark my words, just very little. And it's not a spice I take every day. Yes, there are some foods I don't take every day, and this is also actually one of them. But whenever the body is sluggish, whenever the immune system is low, when there seem to be inflammations, when there be some coldness in the body, these are the occasions when the weather is cold, when you need to take it. Those who are going through prostate health will also, prostate issues will also benefit. I think there are some studies showing that it's a great aid in that aspect too. Taking it, adding it in your food, or even as a hot infusion to take during the cold weather. And so it's one of the anti-inflammatory spices that you should occasionally include in your diet in order to keep your body warm and avoid coldness and to boost your immunity. But there is also a caution that you need to know about it. Those who are managing high blood pressure must also be cautious about hot spices like this. Another spice that has a similar effect, very good, but those who are managing high blood pressure should also be careful with such spice. That is rosemary. And this one too, it's high in antioxidants, and it is actually the antioxidant properties that makes it, one of the foods that we I recommend for, reversing chronic inflammations. It's also one of the foods you should include when you want to detox. Yes, that is how it works. That's why it is used for women who have just put to bed. Most of people from the southeast will understand it. So when you use it, it's, tend to make toxins to come out. Those blood and some of the things that may want to get stocked in the body. By the time you use it in cooking, the woman will be sweating most of the time, and most of the bad blood, they call it, both the ones that were supposed to go out with the childbirth but are still there, all of them will be expected to be coming out because of this detox. It's one of the detox spices. It's one of the spices to include mildly also if you are dealing with yeast infection. It's a yeast killing food. Most of these spices that are hot, when you suspect yeast infection, many of you haven't heard of it, but I've had to deal with it several years back. When you are dealing with yeast infection, a lot of people have issues, health issues relating to yeast infection. And most times, the funny aspect is that when you go to the lab, they won't see anything most times. Nothing will be shown, but yet the person is sick. That's one of the ways that the yeast infection behaves. But spices like this, Negro pepper, when you include it moderately in your diet, it's going to start starving the yeast. It's one of the spices that starves yeast. When you want to deal with yeast, you don't really work to eliminate them with antibiotics, but you can starve them until their number continues to reduce until it gets to the time when you are free, in a way that the number that is left do not have power or do not have the ability to suppress your immunity to the point of feeling sick. And that's why we must include spices like that, like Negro pepper, once in a while. And the good thing about it again is that it's always in the dried form. Once it's dried, it can stay as long as the one you see here has been with me in a container for almost 1 year. I'm talking of 12 months. And when you put it very close to your nose, it's still very strong. So you don't have to worry about preserving it. You don't need to preserve it in your refrigerator. But when you think there is increase or high number of bacteria, when the bacterial load is much, that's when you need to go for it. At times you suspect bloating. That's when they are rising. When your stomach looks full, as if you've eaten and you've not eaten anything. When you eat and the food is sitting there for too long, that's a sign of low stomach acid and weak immunity. This is one of the occasions also when you need to include this very, very spice. But there's one caution again. When you add too much to it, apart from affecting the blood pressure, it can also affect, create symptoms like anxiety feeling. A lot of people that are going through anxiety feeling, some of them are engaged or in taking too much spicy food. And when you take too much spicy food like this regularly, it can also trigger or make existing anxiety feeling worse. So it's a great spice, but you need to be cautious to when taking it, because food is our medicine, but moderation remains our rule. Don't forget to click the follow button if you like this message.